The Entertainment and Leisure Software Association. The Entertainment and Leisure Software Association is also known as the European Leisure Software Association until the year 2002. It is an organisation that had been set up by the British software publishers in the year 1989. This organisation was set up to introduce age ratings to video games. The Independent Games Developers Association. A man named Ernest W. Adams in the year 1994 funded this organization. The organization was also known as the Computer Game Developers Association. This organization was put in place to support the careers of interests of individual developers. Women in Games. Women in Games is an organization which is to help inspire women to get more involved in the gaming industry. Every year, the organization holds a conference to persuade individual women to join the gaming industry. The Women in Games organization was established in the year 1999. The British Academy of Film Organisation is an independent charity that supports, promotes and develops the arts forms of moving image from television, films and games. The British organisation has a year-round programme of learning events. Also, this organisation was established in the year 1947. The Mobile Entertainment Forum, also known as MAF. It is a global trade association for various companies to monetize their products and services via mobile. This organization was established in the year 2000. This organization is to drive market growth. Personally, I think gamers should be aware of all the negative things within a video game. However, I think the gaming industry should also be aware of some social responsibilities as well. Video games have always been played for amusement and entertainment. They can act as aid in relieving stress. Video games have risen over time into a large empire, impacting many worldwide. Therefore, a high percentage of ethical issues are brought to our attention due to this development. In the future, we should recognize how new video games are ethically affected thousands of people who play them. The ethical issues of video gaming that influence many people include education, violence against women, stereotyping, community, and addiction. Ultimately, each topic is linked to violence in video games. Gaming ethics consist of the following ethical issues: violence, rating, education, stereotyping, and addiction. Violence. Violence in video games is a massive debate, mostly centered on subjects, for example, sex, sexism, game graphics, violence, nudity, racism, and objectionable material. Every single video game will be studied for links to aggression and addiction. There are hundreds of violent games such as Grand Theft Auto 5, Dead Space, and Dead Space 2, like shown in the video. There are many arguments about these sorts of games and whether they cause people to be more violent and angered. What do you think? I personally agree that it may anger people more. Although after some quick research, I found a little survey and 27 people said violence in video. I found a quick survey and 27% say violent video games affects behavior, and 73 people said it doesn't. Ratings. The Pan-European Game Information Aid rating system was established to help European parents make informed decisions on buying computer games. This system was created in the year 2003 and it replaced a high amount of national aid ratings. Ratings of games is a great thing because it helps parents choose which type of games their children will be best playing and which are suitable for them. In the year 2010, the Supreme Court in the US decided to hear a case about criminalization of the sale of violent video games to children underage, although this bill did now pass. Education. Through the education perspective, there are many different things gaming can teach us all. Some are positive things and others are negative. For example, Grand Theft Auto 5 is teaching most of us negative things, whereas the video game City Crisis is a game which can teach us positive things. Educational games are mostly considered as a type of serious game. Educational games has a huge purpose rather than just pure amusement and entertainment, although there is video games out there with a mixture between education and entertainment. This type of game is quite well known as edutainment. Stereotyping. The video game industry is more focused towards men rather than women. This causes many people to think that it is stereotyping against women. I personally think this is true. However, men do play more video games than women. But game developers still add women parts into a high percentage of video games, being it able to make women characters. For example, this is in Grand Theft Auto. Lastly, addiction. Through addiction, participating in a long amount of time in a video game has caused people to be highly addicted to it. In result, they lose valuable time within their communities and miss opportunities from other activities that could be more beneficial for them. This is one of the highest concerns the gaming industry is having. The problem being is that they want people to enjoy their games, but the addiction gets in the way of that, which they don't want at all. Addiction causes a lot of health claims. In conclusion, the perfect game to make is a fun game which is not highly addictive. Intellectual property. Intellectual property is a legal means of protecting an author's work. It is a type of intellectual property that provides exclusive publication, distribution, and user rights for the author. Say, for example, a person comes up with a great idea for a new invention. If someone else steals this idea, the potential profit of the invention may also be taken away. Similarly, if a digital recording of a new song is leaked on the internet, thousands of people may download it and redistribute it to others. If this happens, the profit potential of selling the music may be substantially diminished. Copyright. Copyright is the legal means of protecting an author's work. Copyright is great because it means random people cannot steal content an author created and take credit for it themselves. Copyright on some work usually lasts up to 50 to 100 years, although it can change from country to country. Copyright can can protect many bits of work by an author, such as plays, games, films, songs, artwork, and poems. In modern times, copyright protection has extended to websites and other online content. To aware others you have copyright protection on your work, you can post a copyright logo on any of your work. The logo is literally a circle with a C in the middle of it. The logo is also shown in the video. An example of copyright is when Disney got sued for selling someone's life story in their children's film Frozen. An example of copyright would be the creators of Call of Duty stealing ideas from other games such as Halo or any other type of game.
Trademark. A trademark is well known as an identifier. It is used to identify companies' products, services, and brands. To know if something has trademark, it may have the trademark logo on the product, which is a simple circle with the letter R in the middle.
Patent. The term patent usually refers to an exclusive right granted to anyone who invents any new, useful, non-obvious process, machine, article of manufacture, composition of matter, or any new and useful improvements thereof, and claims the right in a formal patent application. The exclusive right granted to a patentee in most countries is the right to prevent others from making, using, selling, or distributing the patented invention without permission. Registered design. What is it? Registered design is where you are protecting the external appearance of the article. The benefits of registered design is that you can obtain to ownership the right to prevent others from stealing and using your design without you giving permission. If you were to qualify for registration for your design must be completely new, and the design must be industrially applied onto an article.
For example, in Grand Theft Auto 5 there is a title which has a certain style, and if somebody then takes that style and uses it elsewhere, they could be punished and fined or sued.
Contractual obligations. Contractual obligations have the following issues: employment, development, license, NDA, and collaboration. Employment contracts. The purpose of an employment contract is to have an agreement between an employee and an employer, which sets out their employment rights. The agreement is mostly about what the employer expects the employee to do in a set amount of time, and what the employer will give back in return. An employment contract is in some way used to sweeten a job offer and guarantee at will employment. However, this contract is more of an expectation rather than a rule set by the employer. Development agreements. In the gaming industry, many game publishers will hire game developers to create games for them. A development agreement is a contract which spells out the terms of the development deal. Terms. This part of the agreement shows how much the publisher will pay the developers who create the game, and what amount of time they have to create the full game. Ownership. It is very important to clarify who owns the IP, the publisher or the developers. Warranties. The company that develops the game has to swear that it will not use any other source code, and the publishing company has to swear that it has the right to ask the developers to create this particular game. An unusual example of development agreements is when the Federation of Germany consumer organizations sued computer games distributor Valve because it prohibits Steam gamers from reselling their games.
License agreement. If I, when a game publisher wants to design and make a game around a movie or some sort, the publisher and the movie IP owner will execute a contract spelling out the terms of the license. What is being licensed? The contract will most likely specify that the game publisher will only have the right to make the game around the film on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Territory. The contract will definitely specify what part of the game can be published in. All publishers always want a worldwide game where everyone can play, but unfortunately sometimes that option isn't open for them. Terms. The contract normally lasts around a time of 5 years, although some contracts can last forever, but that isn't so likely. An example of license agreement is Lego, because they had to get permission off the Lego company and whoever made the film they want to create their game around.
NDA and confidential agreements. Non-disclosure agreements, well known as NDAs, mostly identical to disclosure agreements and confidential agreements. One of these parties is, in order to do any type of business with any other party, has to disclose a secret of some sort, and has to tell one other party the secret. The other party will agree not to disclose the important information, and they will also agree to keep it confidential. If this agreement is broken in any way, damage will be the result to the first party. In such event, an extreme serious event will take place in a court of law to the second party. An example of NDA is in the brand new Advanced Warfare, which was released on the 3rd of November, although the game got leaked on Twitch before it was released. Collaboration agreements. All the above types of contracts cover the most frequent types of contracts in the mainstream game industry, but hundreds, if not thousands, of game designers are building hobby games or indie games. And for all these designers, the important need is an agreement that will cover all the important issues, which include ownership and compensation in the creation of this game that breathes and exists outside the mainstream industry. A collaboration improves two or more individuals putting their efforts together to achieve a common goal, whether this is done for business purpose or to resolve personal legal disputes. A written agreement to collaborate creates an enforceable contract after all parties sign it. An example of this agreement is the Sledgehammer and Activision worked together to create Call of Duty.